Sonetta, subscribe to Sonetta. I was on the couch watching Sonetta. Peace to the Ntchr, peace to the prophets. He brought them all together, he's the Don King of knowledge. Learning information you cannot get from a college. Never knew a day it would be cool to be conscious. I was on the topic, loving the debates. Now we got the conferences to serve another plate, so you can get your food for thought and enjoy the pleasure. Red, black, and green, I'm on the way up to the lecture. It's all for the better, knowledge is a treasure. A legend to the game, the one and only Sonetta. We do it for the people, we do it for the fam. Sonetta Studios, Black News 102. Special shout out to the HOK. The House of Consciousness is all the same. We do it for the people, we do it for the fam. Sonetta Studios, Black News 102. Special shout out to the HOK. The House of Consciousness is all the same.
Do it for the people. Sonetta TV. We do it for the people. Sonetta TV.
Welcome to another Sonetta TV House of Consciousness production. As you can see, I sit here with one of the grandmaster teachers, one of the elders, who goes by the name of Mfundishi. And the title of this joint right here is going to be very powerful. The powerful of learning your legacy through the Ntchr. This is what's going on. My brother Mfundishi, you was at the Comedic Armageddon War Conference. Talk to me about that, brother. The people loved it. The people just had a good time. People came from all over the world, and they was just looking forward to mingling with. Did you meet a few people, my brother, during the conference?
Yes, actually, even 2 or 3 days before the conference, people came up to my table on 125th Street to get a book, to get a picture, and just to talk. You know, some people bought some Ntchr crystals, gemstones, people who had been following my work and people who had knew of my work but never met me. So, yeah, I met a lot of people, you know, especially coming from the South, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, more from the South than I had from the North, you know. So that was good. It was a good experience for people to come and see some of the people and see this wave of interest of people tapping in to the Kemetic spiritual legacy, because they realize this is who they are. They go beyond these religions. They go beyond Judaism, Christianity, Islam. They go beyond all those isms. And they were feeling the energy of ancient Kemet. So they were coming to get more information. And so that was dua, brother. That was dua.
Have you ever thought that it will come to this, where you see the youth is more attracted to the knowledge now? All over the world, the youth are coming out. 16-year-old. There was a brother who was, I think he was 16 years old. It was his birthday. And he traveled, or 17, and light-skinned brother. He's on one of my brother Baba Every Time Fire videos. And he traveled all the way to the conference just to meet us and to be in the building. He represents the nation of gods and earths, 16 years old. Do it surprise you, or you knew that it was going to come to an end? As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the ending. Do it surprise you to see this young group, just the young people are more attracted to the knowledge and information and to the consciousness?
Well, brother, if you just analyze history, Malcolm X, El Haj Malik told us that history rewards all research. Every struggle has been the young people. Even the civil rights movement, it was not the old heads. It was the young people who marched with Martin Luther King. It was the young people who were behind El Haj Malik, El Shabazz, Malcolm X. It was the young people who was in the Black Panther Party. And if we remember our brother in the Million Man March, the Million Youth March, Brother Khalid Muhammad, it was the young people. And so, no, I'm not surprised as this information's going out there. The old heads, you know, my peers and above, most of them, we have to write them off. And we just have to leave a legacy for the next generation to come. But it's always been the young people. So, no, brother, I was not surprised. I saw that probably the average age there was around 35 to 40. You know, we had youth underneath that, but that was about the average age, at 35 to. These are people who've been through the educational system already. They know they've been bamboozled. They know that they did not get their history, and they're waking up. And I think there was an article on the internet that said, how come more people are learning about African history on the internet than they did in school? It's because we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and all secrets are now going to be revealed. But you have to be a seeker. You have to be a seeker of the knowledge. The blind will continue to stay blind. Okay, but those people who are seeking knowledge, see, at one time, you could only get this knowledge if you belong to the Freemasons, the Masonic order, or some secret order. But in the age of Aquarius, that age is going, see, the Piscean age is coming to an end. That's all over. Now we're coming into an age where all those who are seeking will be able to get it. You can learn on the internet in a month what it would take you a year to learn in 1990. So, you know, yes, so the young people, and plus the young people are computer savvy. So, no, they're searching up. People are telling me, look, Mfundishi, I saw every YouTube you got. I saw it, you know, like they on it. Once they get tapped into it, once you lead them to the water, they know how to drink. Right. See, the old folks don't, you can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink. You just show the young people where the water is, they'll go get theirs.
Mm-hmm. Powerful, powerful, my brother. The Ntchr. Why is that so important? Whenever I see you talking about the Ntchr. You writing your books. You trying to teach the young people about it. You holding your classes. You taking museum tours. Why is that so important today?
You see, people already know they've been bamboozled. Right now, the Wazungu, the Europeans, have taken over the study of ancient Egypt. Almost every book you can buy on ancient Egypt is by a European. And 99.9% of these Europeans are professing that the ancient Egyptians were white people. They even got a new movie come out, The Gods of Egypt, all white cast. They just did a movie last year that didn't make much money. All white cast. Blacks were only slaves in the movie, basically. See, the Cecil B. DeMille's days of the Ten Commandments, that's over. Right? And so I want people not to just take my word for it. I want them to be able to read it themselves. You see, I get so excited because when I'm reading with Ntchr, it's like the ancestors are talking to me directly. I don't need a middle person. Right now, we got a middle person between us and our legacy. We got European white Egyptologists, and many of the black Egyptologists have been whitewashed, so they're preaching the same thing that the white boys are preaching so that they can get a job, so that they can get tenure, so they can work at the university, you know. So when you learn to read it yourself, brother, you ain't got to take nobody's word for it. And there's more literature in the Ntchr than all the ancient languages together. Let me say that again. If we go to the year 2000, let's say 2000 BC, that's supposed to be the time of Christ. If we take all the information that's available in the ancient world and multiplied it by 100, that would still not equal the information that's written in the Ntchr. See, we were prolific. We wrote everything. We wrote on the walls. We wrote on the columns. We wrote on the ceiling. Brother, we wrote on papyrus. We wrote on paper, leaves. You know, so we left information. It's almost like our ancients knew that we were going to be in this situation. And they said, no, we're going to leave images for you. We're going to leave a state of excellence for you. We're going to leave this writing for you because we know that y'all will be able to read it at some point. And you will know the truth for yourself. So, brother, that's why I'm excited about it. My beginner class that I'm holding here in Harlem was standing room only. We had to take turns to people away. It was like 20 people.
When do you have classes?
Yes.
So people can know?
I do them only 2 times a year because we work with the seasons. We work with the spring. So my new classes will start, the spring equinox is March 21st. So right after that, I do a workshop, and then our classes start the 1st of April. And my online classes start the same time. So I have an online class 1 and 2, beginners and intermediate. So people who've like studied with Sister Ricchetti or other people, Bonacci in Detroit, or Detroit Study Group, or people who've been studying who want to take it even a higher level, they can take my more advanced Ntchr class. So that's on the internet. But in Harlem, they can in April it starts, and then I start again in the fall. Because now we're going by the fall equinox, okay? So, and I do that all the way to the summer, winter solstice. Okay.
Let me ask you this question here, that people are always saying this, and I want to hear your response. What is Ntchr going to do for us today? How could that pay my bills? This is what people say. You learning about dead people. Those are dead prophets. What the hell is the Ntchr going to do for me today and my family, brother?
I love this. An Underground Railroad asked me the same question with Brother Rich.
That's
right. Come on, brother. Today, what we're going to do. Yeah. Let me just say this here, brother. Scholarship does not go out of style. So I need to make that clear. Excellence does not go out of style. Being in control of your own destiny does not go out of style. There's not a time period. Right now, our minds have been enslaved. So even the little knowledge we think we got is being usurped by our oppressor. I just read something. It said in 1815, 2% of all Africans were independent in America. 98% worked for Europeans. They did a poll. In 2015, that's this year, brother, 2% of Africans employed themselves and 98% work for Europeans. You see what I'm saying? So now, my thing is, what you got to lose? That's number one. That's number one. But number two, it empowers you to be your own boss. We got a whole industry that we need to take control of. We need to take control of our images. That's books that we need to write from our perspective. We control of the photography. We need to move in and take control of what's going on in these museums. We need to house these trips. We need to take control of our educational system. As I get into the presentation, that's what I'm going to talk about. You see, whoever controls the education controls the minds of your children. And so the Ntchr, just imagine if our young people had this information I'm getting ready to run on you. Just imagine if people 10, 12, 13, 14, right? They got young black kids who are 14 and 15, 16 years old who are graduating from college. But it's a Western paradigm. Imagine if they had our paradigm like they did in ancient Kemet. So that's the idea, is to change the paradigm so that they will be able to take control of their destiny. We need to be able to employ ourselves, educate ourselves. We need Ntchr teachers. So when I teach my class, I'm not just teaching people to feel good. I'm teaching people to be Ntchr teachers. I have two of my advanced students in 2016 will be teaching classes. My beginner students go up to intermediate. My intermediate students go into advanced intermediate. We're producing magazines. We're producing work. My advanced students is producing books. We're rewriting the stuff that the European Egyptologists wrote. We're rewriting it from an African-centered perspective. And what people say, they say, well, Mfundishi, this is a feel-good thing. This is just inspiration. And it'll soon fade. I say, no, brother. You have to be consistent every day. Soap and bathing don't last forever either, does it? But you need to wash every day. So you need a dose of the Ntchr, the legacy, every day, just like you do bathing, brother. Inspiration is powerful and it's liberating. And so what I tell people, this can liberate. Wait, you might want to be a college professor like I am, but you can teach this to the children, to the schools. You recapture your whole world. We built the pyramids, brother, with no money. You understand me? No money. Collect.
It wasn't slaves.
You already know better than that, brother. You already. And so everybody was compensated. So we need to do that now. We need to employ ourselves. We need to compensate ourselves. The only reason why we are enslaved right now is because our minds are enslaved. Nobody has physical chains on us. It's because of the education we've received. If we rechange our education through the Ntchr and the legacy, then we empower ourselves to take control of ourselves. We have the richest continent, but yet we're the poorest people. Don't you see something wrong with that phenomena? Yes. We were the smartest people on the planet, and now we're at the bottom of the literacy rate. Isn't there something wrong with that? That means somebody else is in control of our mind. And again, religion is one of the number one things during the Piscean age from 2000 on that's locked our minds into somebody else's paradigm. And so the Ntchr gets you out. It doesn't take any energy away from the rest of Africa, because we're saying if you study Ifa, if you're into Yoruba, if you're into Vudam, we're saying no, that's still part of this legacy. We're all connected. It's like the fingers like this, it's separate, but when we pull them together like that, and the Ntchr helps us pull it together with our classical language.
That's right. Powerful, my brother. Beautiful as said. Yes, we're going to get right into it, but it's hard for us to put down the Bible. It's hard for us to put down the Quran, because when in my talkings with the brothers, they say, well, the first thing they will tell you, this is not a religion. Y'all keep saying religion. It's not a religion. I'm saying, yes, it is a religion. Why is it so hard for the people to see that you are dealing with religion? But they try to say, well, this is not religion. This is a way of life. This is how our life is. Talk about that a little bit. It's hard for us to put down these books and just pick up the Ntchr or ancient Kemet. They say, oh, well, that's blasphemy. Y'all talking about that. Y'all looking up into the sky. Y'all talking about praising the sun and the water and got the unks on. That right there is like blasphemy.
That's the very elements of life. Right? So they're telling you the very elements of life is blasphemy. That's silly. You hear me talk, I say we need to be able to master the 5 domains. The first one is the mineral domain. That's understanding the earth, all the minerals, the sun, the atmosphere, what's here. Religion won't do that. It's spookism. It's belief system. Then we say you need to, after the mineral domain, master the plant domain. Become a herbologist. Know how the herbs are here, the plants are here to aid us. Religion won't deal with that. They won't deal with the herbs. Religious people are the sickest people on the planet. Christianity ain't liberating nobody. It's keeping you sick. High blood pressure. Islam. It's all of those religions. The third domain, understand the animal domain. A lot of them just want to eat the animals. They don't want to study them, brother. They think that God just made us superior over them. No, we're supposed to share the planet with these animals. You understand? Share. That's a respect. Religion's not going to teach you that. And then the fourth domain is the human domain. Master understanding humans. We knew that we were divine at one time. And the Bible, I think the only person divine is JC. Okay, everybody else is born in sin. We don't teach nobody's born in sin. You're born a divine being. A divine being. So you at a handicap if you're born in sin already. So no, we're born as divine beings, divine spiritual beings. And we are just like the Ntchr. We can manipulate energy. And now, brother, you have to understand, we come from an enslaved system. Right now, our former enslaver is still in charge of our education. From pre-K all the way to PhD. And so you're asking how hard is it to liberate ourselves. Come on, I went to independent black schools. The independent black colleges is just a Negro institution. It's a white institution with a Negro facade. They're not teaching you to liberate yourself. They're teaching you to get a good job. In fact, when I was in college, getting ready to graduate, the guidance counselor, dean of men, said, Mfundishi, don't come here with no dashiki on and sandals. Come in here with a suit and just, so we can get you a job. I mean, this is a black college. I mean, so that's the problem we have. And the people we're looking up for have an investment in capitalism and backwardness. Our Al Sharptons, the people, the Black Boule. The Black Boule is in bed. They are a wing of Skull and Bones. We already know what Skull and Bones think of African people. So what is the black version? The black version gets to black people that Skull and Bones can't get to. So in other words, all of us got us in the camp of destroying ourselves. So brother, no, I'm not discouraged by that these people are locked down in religion. I realize they haven't been offered anything else, and we don't have institutions in place to give them an alternative. So that's what has to happen. These young people now need to learn these skills so that they can give the next generation an alternative.
Samaria. People are saying writing started in Samaria first and came up out of that. Oh, you got that in there. Okay, well, we're going to deal with that. Don't even answer that question. The last question I have for you then is, oh, man, it was just on the tip of my tongue. I got another question. It revolves of where did we come from? Some people are saying we come from monkeys. We come from apes. This is groups that's out there, you know, talking about that right now. Where did we come from as a people? Are we stardust? Did we come from animals? Or did we come from apes? Talk about that.
Well, one thing, you see, Darwin's theory doesn't hold water. Darwin's evolutionary theory does not hold water. If we'll look at the primates, which Europeans want to claim they come from, we never claim we came from, but Europeans want to say they come from that. If we look at the gorilla, which is the most advanced primate, he has 48 chromosomes. Human beings, man, has 46. And so it's a step backwards and then a step to the side. We have a pineal gland that connects us to the universe. He doesn't have this. So it's something like some engineering took place here. It's like somebody took the body. We got every organ and muscle that the gorilla has, but we got a different intellect and a different connection to the universe. So it's like somebody took a step back, a step to the side, and then went forward for human beings. We came here as human beings, and we have always been human beings. Okay, so I just need to make that statement. That's what they're going to prove. They're going to see. I mean, every year they have to push the date back. First it was we were here 3 million years, then 5 million, then 8 million. They're going to find out we was here dodging dinosaurs. You know, watch, they're going to find out. We've always been here. So let me get into this presentation because I'm going to answer the Sumerian thing and all of that. Okay.
All right, peace, fellas. My brother, I'm ready. Take it away.
Okay. The power of learning your legacy through the Ntchr. I want to state first that the Ntchr is our classical language. And by being the classical language means it has the best that we have to offer. Using the Ntchr, Pan-African educational system, is a tool for liberating and transmitting Ma'at and Septepi. Ma'at is truth, justice, righteous, and harmonious balance, which was the center of our thing. Our present-day educational system here in America and in the Western world is a system set up to enslave, imprison the mind, and retard your consciousness. As a result, we are upside down, inside out, and backwards, which really means that even if you were given some really good and liberating information, you would not be able to use it. I am proposing a new but ancient revolutionary Ntchr educational system based upon the ancient wisdom of the Happy Valley. All of the ancient indigenous ancestral traditions of the African continent can root us in part with our culture. This is also why we say that all African people should learn to speak at least one African language. Language expresses a culture, and a culture connects you to a lifeline. This lifeline helps you navigate, survive, and flourish in an environment or society mentally, physically, and spiritually. The Ntchr roots us in an unlimited reservoir of knowledge and wisdom from this world and beyond, from a Ma'atian perspective. This Ma'at center teaches good character, balance, well-being, and this wisdom is etched on stone, in the walls of ancient Kemet temples, on columns, in the designs of statues, tombs, hidden in the architectural structure of temples and monuments. Through the Kemetic legacy, we learn that the science is spirituality that can be seen, touched, and felt through an experience. But through the Ntchr, we learn that spirituality is science that cannot be seen or touched physically, but can also be felt through its experience and its end results. The true teachings are not just an accumulation of facts and knowledge. That's what you've been getting. Somebody just been trying to stuff facts in your head. It is an awakening. That's what the Ntchr does. An awakening of your consciousness, which goes through successive stages. In order to learn the Ntchr from a Pan-African center, you must travel through these stages, and then you will understand the exoteric and esoteric world that exists at the same time. The Ntchr connects us to the deepest, most ancient part of ourselves. Our educational system has to teach us everything is connected. Everything is related. Everything is part of the one. This is what we need to understand in the 21st century Western time, 63rd century Kemetic time. If you see up here, I talk about reorganizing our thoughts. Our African leadership, we need a serious African organization, and it must have a council of ancestors. That means the esteemed ancestors who've left legacies for us, like a Dr. Ben, like a Dr. John Henry Clark. We need a council of elders, and later I'll show you some of our esteemed elders here now, and a council of experts. And the council of experts is male, female, from all ages who have expertise in in preparing us for the future. This was put on the internet. It's a Kemetic Council of Elders. And you can see these are elders that support the Kemetic liberation. There are many other dynamic elders who are out here, but all of these support the ancient Kemetic spiritual philosophy that we are the original people and the first people and the ones that brought civilization to the world. As you can see, the African-centered education we must organize and be prepared to teach the children at home, on the weekends. First, every educational organization should be based on a detailed, written, comprehensive plan. And every written plan should have the architectural blueprint of the organization and the process of its function and structure towards the whole. So you can see these circles interrelate each other. You have the African Council of Elders, which we talk about. And even before that, the ancestors. We have the African professional, the educational team that's actually going to do the teaching. You have the physical plant, your actual building or houses, wherever you're going to do this at. Then you have a dynamic African-centered administration, an administration that understands ancient Kemet, can speak the Ntchr, understands the spirituality, and a faculty that's going to talk about the exact same thing. Not people who say, do what I say, but not what I do. People who are actually living the legacy. And the curriculum is designed to empower you. And the students are all people of African descent. Now, we as Africans gave birth to all humans. So I want to make sure it is clear here as you look here. We as Africans gave birth, and you can see, I know some of my Moor brothers want to say we started in North America, but I want to be realistic here. All humans, as we know it today, started on the continent of Africa. Brother Diop already explained this and talked about the 6 levels of the humanoids, all came out of Africa. And we populated the world. And this map kind of gives you a design of how we came out of the world, how we came out of Africa, moved across Southern Asia, all the way into the South Pacific, Australia, up into Asia, and eventually into North America and South America. So the oldest rebones, we are the original people on all of the continents. They will find African remains. But now I want to go back to ancient Kemet, to Africa. Haru M. Aketi. If we see here, we see the picture. Some people will call it the Sphinx. That is a Greek name. We see here that it's over 12,000 years old. That means before the last great flood, Haru M. Aketi was already an ancient building, already there. And so we have to be able to come to grips with this. There is no monolithic structure like this any place else in the world this early. So again, I want people to have a close look at this. So in other words, before our modern world, we had Africans who were great teachers in the ancient world before the great flood or the great deluge kind of destroyed them. But this gives a perfect example of that. This is a picture of the ancient world, and all it does is show us the ancient world before 4240. These were the civilizations, or after 4240, these were the civilizations that came later. So we can see the Happy Valley coming down the middle of ancient Kemet. We see Kush and Monroe below that. We see Axum over. If we go to Western Africa, we see the great Ghana, Mali, Songhai empires. If we go to the south, we see Zimbabwe. If we move into Asia, we see the Tigers and Euphrates. And then if we move further, we see the Ganges. We see the Indus Ganges, where that's where the Asiatic knowledge came into India. We were the first dynasty in China. So you can see up with the Yellow River, the Shang dynasty. Then we can look down into Cambodia, Kim Buddha, the Black Buddha. We see all that, the knowledge came in there. And Angkor Wat, all of this information are still Africans. So as we moved across the world. Africa is what I use it today. Some of our brothers refer to the continent as Akabolan. But Africa is the terminology I'm going to be using for today. I talk about the world. We've been looking at the world upside down, inside out, and backwards. So even if I give you some good information, you can't use it. Well, here I'm showing you a proper spatial perspective of Africa and the world here. And the Happy River is flowing down north. So I want people to see this. The Happy River is flowing down north. And that means the cataracts start up south. So after Khartoum, you see the first cataract in Sudan. And so there are 5 cataracts in Sudan, and the 6th and last cataract is in Kemet. Europeans have the world backwards, so they got you thinking the 6th cataract is the first cataract. And so this map clearly shows you. No water runs uphill unless it's used by a pump. And there's no pump in the Happy River in the north. It's flowing down north from the south. Now, we're trapped in mental slavery. And I want to go here. What happened to the highly advanced African civilization in the Happy Ntchr Valley? They were clearly the most advanced material culture in antiquity, thousands of years ahead of others, before Greece and Rome. 3,000 years behind ancient Kemet. Now, just think, people, America is only a couple of hundred years old. And imagine somebody's 3,000 years behind you in terms of knowledge, wisdom, and education. So we looked at the Greeks and the Romans as children in terms of knowledge and wisdom. What was the process used to blot out this achievement? I think Brother Sonetta kind of asked this question. The African population from the annals of history. What took us out of history? But more importantly, how and under what circumstances did Africans among the very first people to invent writing, architecture, nation building, urban planning, construction, engineering, lose their arts and sciences almost completely? All of the books written about Africans is by the conquerors and reflect their values and their viewpoint, not ours. So we have to reconnect and begin to write our own books. We have to reconnect and talk about our own spiritual education, not just from a European paradigm. Even today, books, curricula, teaching materials, and educational institutions are all founded on white capitalism, male, Greco-Roman, Judeo-Christian, Aryan, ruled by models, by their human models. And so we have to turn that around. And just like we've been looking at the world upside down, how we have been educated has been upside down. And so we have to take control of our educational system. We have been miseducated. And so we have to represent for ourselves. At the center has to be Ma'at. You see, Ma'at is not in their agenda. If you're stealing somebody's stuff, how are you going to talk about Ma'at? If you're killing the indigenous people and taking their land, how are you going to talk about Ma'at? So you can't talk about Ma'at. You have to talk about religion. And you notice the religion is doing the killing. More people have been killed in the name of religion than any man-made institution on the planet. Let me say that again. More people have been killed in the name of some religion than any institution man has incorporated. That's right. And religion does not teach you good character. If I can take a machine gun and just wipe people out because they don't believe in what I believe in, what is that saying about your character? So Ma'at is truth, righteousness, justice, harmonious balance, reciprocity, and balance in all things. Here, these are 42 orals of Ma'at. And here, we see that before there was a Moses, there was Ma'at. And again, look at the proper spatial perspective of Africa. And that beautiful sister up on the top represents the image of Ma'at. And so we looked at Ma'at as this beautiful African feminine, universal feminine energy. How do we give honor and praise to the great ancestors? I always talk about 4 ways. We speak and write their name, the way they spoke and write their name. So therefore, we need to learn some Ntchr. We use and honor their great completed works. And that's what we're doing here now. That's what you see on these images here. This is their great and completed works. We need to be emulating that and using that in our life. And then we must complete their incompleted works. And that's what this little lecture is about. That's what the conference was about. We got work to do, people. We just can't ride on the wave that ancient Kemet was great. No, we got to become great again.
That's right.
We created perfect images and carvings and sculptures and paintings, statues, monuments, so that their likeness will be remembered for eternity. Now, Europeans do that. You almost can't go into a park without some white boy on a horse or something there saying, we discovered this. So they're taking our formula and using it for themselves. We have to use this formula for ourselves. But like I said, we have to define ourselves through our own image. Now, Brother Sanada asked first, a little earlier about the Chaldeans' work wrote first. If you look here, this is an article from 1998 in the Daily News, New York Daily News. And it talks about Egyptians wrote first. And this is archaeologists of today telling you that the ancient Egyptians wrote first. I have a lot of stuff to go through, so I'm not going to go read this verbatim, but it lets you know that the first writing, this is before cuneiform, and cuneiform is abstract. In other words, if you don't know the culture, you can never learn cuneiform. Here, all you got to do is know nature, and you can learn it. So if you look to my right, I show you the Ntchr. Then I show you the hieratic. We had a cursive form, a printed form. Then I show you the Phoenicians. Then I show you how the Greeks, the Romans, and the Hebrews came in. Okay? So they're to come in last. We're their teachers. And let me just say something about, brother. In Sumeria, the ancient Sumerians were African people who set up that. And they came also from ancient Kush. If you look at Monroe and all that, it says, in Memnod, it says the children of Kush. The children of Kush. So even the founders of cuneiform.
Sumerian writing dates to 3000 BC.
Right. So Kemet is more than 1,000 years before Sumerian. And that's why they want to say that Egypt doesn't start to 3100 because they want to put them together. But I'm going to show you on the timeline that no, we're way beyond that. This is what happens when somebody else controls your scholarship.
That's powerful right there. Yes, sir.
So here's the Ntchr alphabet. These are the letters. Not all symbols represent single letters. Some pictures represent words. The symbols that make up the alphabet in the Kemetic Ntchr are subdivided into categories, including phonograms and ideograms. And I'll kind of explain that. Ideograms were used to write the word they represent. An example of an ideogram would be a picture of a woman that actually looks like a woman and represents the word woman. Phonograms were used to spell out the sound of a word. It did not represent what it looked like. It was not related to the word. It was just there for the sound. As a result, symbols use both ideograms and phonograms, and the reader needs to determine the context of the sentence in order to find out which word was intended. To indicate whether a symbol represents a complete word or merely a sound ascribed to that word. Scribes and priests of ancient Kemet were called sesh, and sesh hina him Ntchr. Young boys and sometimes young girls were of wealthy families, usually entered schools around the age of 6 or 7. And here they were, taught the Ntchr. It wasn't hard. I mean, it wasn't easy, but the privileges of learning the Ntchr was that if you became a scribe, you were exempt from taxes. If you became a scribe, you were also not required to enter military service, so you were exempt from that. because and you got a kind of a high status in the society. Here we get a chance to look at what I was talking about. Down the middle of the page, it says, and we can see it's written from right to left. We can see the direction of the cobra. So it says, De Ankh Mi Ra Jet. Give life like Ra for eternity. And you can see the Medu Ntchr to our left. It says, Weben Ra Im Aket. Rise Ra in the horizon. And then Sebiat is the teaching. The Seba is a teacher. And then down below you see a Shin. And you see these writings. So we'll get into it. If you look all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a male and a female. Se means man. So the determinative is a little man. Sat means woman. And the determinative is a little woman at the bottom. So again, you get a chance to see. In the center in black, you'll see the words for, it says Sinwi, which means the two brothers. And then you see Sunet T or Sun T, the two ladies. Yeah, right in there. And so you see the you'll see the determinatives pointing out at the end. See, behind the brothers you see a male, and behind the women you see a little female. Okay, this is making sure. And then look below that, you see Tawi, the two lands right there. That's Tawi. So in ancient Kemet we had a singular tense, we had a dual tense, and we had a plural tense. So plural in ancient Kemet was 3 or more. Dual was just 2. We understood dual. See, we don't have that in English and in the European world. Dual mean in and out is all part of one. Up and down, all part of one. Male and female, all part of one. So we had a dual text. This shows that our connection to nature, much more complex. The Kemetic spiritual system of deep thought, these are the things that need to be mastered. So people who are trying to teach themselves are going to have some difficulty. So let me just break this down. You need to learn the alphabet. That's monosyllabic signs. Then you need to learn syllabic signs. That's biliterals and triliterals. That's one sign that has more than one sound. Then you need to learn complements. Complements have to be letters in the alphabet that explain the sound in biliterals and triliterals. And then determinatives. Determinatives come usually at the end of a word and tries to explain the nature of the word. What category does it belong to? Like if somebody say, let's play ball. At the end, they would put a little football so you know what kind of ball we were playing. That's what a determinative does. Then you have to know numerical principles, numbers and adjectives. And so people learn to count in the Medu Ntchr, like Wa, Sanu, Shemut, Fadu, Diu, Sasu, Safekiyu, Kemenu, Pasejiu. And then 10 base. The word 0 is Nefer. And then Maju, then Jabati, then Maba, Hamo, Diuiyu, Sasuiyu, Safekiyu, Kemenuiyu, Pasejiu, Shot. Then the thousands, Ka. And it goes up to 1,000,000, Neha. So we have to learn my students, every number they can say in English, they can say in the Medu Ntchr. A lot of times they just use strokes. So if you look in the right-hand corner there, you'll see the strokes representing the numbers.
Over here?
Over here, right. No,
Okay.
right, yeah, right there. People, all the complex mathematical problems you're going to see later was all done in the Medu Ntchr. You can't do mathematical problems with Roman numerals. They're only good for chapters in a book, and a clock. This is a continuation. The study of African culture and ethnic groups. We need to study them, not just in the valley, but all the way to the south and west. The study of indigenous African spiritual systems. We need in-depth study of Kemetic festivals, celebrations, and holidays. We need to study African folklore, stories, and proverbs. Study astronomy, astrology, numerology, the Kemet calendar. We need in-depth and study of the Ntchr, and I'll be talking about the Ntchr. So people, this is just a black print to be a blueprint to help you study the Medu Ntchr. A lot of people get lost when it comes to grammar. They don't want to learn the grammar. We lose them right there. Once we learn the grammar, that's just like learning how to fish if you were a fisherman. Instead of me giving you fish, I teach you how to fish. When you learn the grammar, now you can learn to read this for yourself. Now, this is why we're upside down, inside, and backwards. We are depending upon somebody else just to define our stuff. All the words here you see at the left are words or European words describing an African phenomena. Egypt, no Egypt, Kemet. So I show you Kemet, how it was written. No Pharaoh, it's a Nasut Biti. In yellow there, I show you the words. No Cartouche, it's a Shin, an elliptical serpent. No hieroglyphics, it's the Ntchr. No Sphinx, it's Haru Im Aketi. No Nile, it was the Hapi Itiru. No mummy, it's the Sahu. No pyramid, it's the Mirkut. And no gods, it was the Ntchr. So we have to, and these Ntchr are principles and laws. Principles and laws. So here we get a good example of seeing some of the Ntchr. Up to the top, it shows you that each of the rulers from the first golden age on had at least 5 names. The first name at the top is their Haru name. Then they had a Nepti name. That means they were master of upper and lower Kemet, protecting the femininity and the nation. Then there were golden Haru names, meaning that they would never perish. And the mere fact we're still talking about it means it's true. Then they had their Nasut Biti name, and that's the first name inside of a Shin. And that has the B in the sledge there. And then finally the Sarah name, which would mean the son of the sun.
The Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah Suit and Seti, huh?
Yeah, so Sarah meaning they were the son of the creator.
Right, that's what Sarah means, meaning the son of the creator.
Yes.
All right, gotcha.
Okay. So here you can see the writing written in both directions towards the bottom. So you can see Sarah going to the right, and then if you look, you see Sarah going to the left, right in here. We must learn to read the Ntchr. Here I am in ancient Kemet. I'm reading the Ntchr. I don't have no white Arab guy telling me what the wall says. We telling him what the wall says, and he's taking notes. Spiritual system of ancient Kemet. In ancient Kemet and Kash, the Kemetu believed in one creator, the spiritual consciousness and of all things. The one creator, divine principle and laws were called Ntchr, and the worship of the Ntchr was part of an everyday life. As with all civilizations, the spiritual system was linked to mythology and spiritual revelations. Much of the spiritual belief centered around the heaven and the earth, and the Hapi Itiru. That's the Kemetic spiritual practice were linked to celestial movements, constellations of the sun, Ra, and the moon, Ea, and the planets, which in turn guided the mythologies in the way of life, so is above, so below. So that's where we get this concept from, ancient Kemet. So is above, so below. So we built our cities in relationship to what was going on in the heavens. You are not separated from the whole. Ntchr. You are one with Ntchr, the creator of the cosmos. Jehuti is the voice. Now, Jehuti is not a god. Jehuti is the voice of the Ntchr, and he represents your higher consciousness. You are one with the galaxy. Ma'at, harmonious balance and order. You are one with the solar system. Shu, Tefnut, boundless space and moisture. You are one with Ra, the sun. You are one with Ea, the moon. You are one with Geb and Nut, the planet and the livable atmosphere. You have a life, Ankh. You are life. You don't have a life, you are a life. Spirituality is not religion. Being spiritual just means you are in touch with your own divine self. And I have to emphasize, you are divine. The Ntchr of the cosmos, Ma'at. So if you can see, this woman here is depicted as Ma'at with the feather, ostrich feather on the head. Says, I rose from justice of the universe, of Kush, and spread my wings across the land of Africa. And when I flapped them, civilizations was established. I am the balance and the harmony of the universe. I am truth itself. I am Kushite, Kemetic, spiritual science. From mathematical perfection of my order, the creator created creation. I am the mathematical balance of order in both the material and the immaterial universe. I am the law of nature. I am the law of physics. I am the law of harmony. I am the law of supreme being. I am the mother and daughter of Amin-Ra. I am his substance. I am Ma'at. So it wasn't like Moses going up to Mount Sinai, getting the 10 Commandments, and coming back down. No, it's a divine order. How did the Remech or the Kemetu look at themselves? Now, this is important. People need to see this. These are pictures directly from the wall. The color has not been touched up. This is how we looked at ourselves. If you see up to the top left, that's the Supreme Council during the time of Ntchr. That's the so-called 11th dynasty. If you look, you see the dancers of the ladies wearing locks and braids. If you look, that's Ntchr, all the way to the right, as a young boy coming out of the lotus flower. Right. Below that, you see the king, the Ntchr Biti. And again, right there, and Haru and Inpu giving him energy and life. In the center, you see the Ntchr in his Hemet Ntchr Weret. We didn't have queens. We had the Hemet, great royal wife, or great divine royal mother.
Okay, we didn't have queens.
No, queens is the whore of the king.
Oh, man.
Okay, so
I heard that before.
Yes, okay. And you see, he's smelling the blue lotus.
That's right.
That's opening up his consciousness so that he's on the same level. And over here, it's almost like the one to the right. We see Inpu, and we see the great feminine energy giving the ruler the power to image, the power to rule.
That life.
Right, giving him life. Again, look at these images. To the top, we see, right, these are Kushite diplomats. And you see what they look like. And you see they're high priests. So these people are not learning from ancient Kemet, they're teachers in ancient Kemet. You see the Ntchr Biti with an afro right in the center. This is the first golden age. If you look next, you see Haru. You look at the light, look at the particles, Haru entering the mind of this high priestess. And so now we see Afraka, the flesh of the spirit, of the life force of the sun, Ntchr. And so we see the statue to the left, and we see live sisters today. So you see they had a perfect model.
That's right.
Okay.
Look at that.
Okay, we can see that perfectly. And we see that your DNA is talking about this black melanin, the cosmic, the plasma of the universe. Africans home and abroad are defined by Kush and Kemetic biophysics and the combination of the two essential holy qualities. So you see here, you see the black matter to your right, the whole universe. 98% of the universe is still just black matter. And this black matter,
Talk about up here?
yes.
Yeah.
And this black matter is still the essence of all things. So we come from blackness and we return to blackness. Tutankhamun to the right is depicted all black here. I heard a European Egyptologist say that his skin was black to keep away evil spirits. Mm-hmm. No, but black was the highest level of spiritual consciousness. Ntchr is all nature. So this, people want to know, what did my church look like? This is what my church looks like. These are the four main systems, spiritual systems within ancient Kemet. The cosmology of Anu, the cosmology of Het-Ka-Ptah, and the cosmology of Kemenu, and the cosmology of Waset. And if you notice, I have the people up to the top. The cosmology of Anu, you see Amun. The cosmology of Het-Ka-Ptah has Ptah in it. The cosmology of Kemenu has Jehuti. And the cosmology of Waset then has Amin, Mut, and Kunsu. And here I kind of break it down into, so that people can comprehend it, the cosmology of ancient Kemet. The first Kemetic cosmology is that of Anu. The ancient occult center in the beginning was the wild, watery chaos called Noon. That's that black matter we showed you before. And from this, Ra emerged, self-formed. He appeared on earth at Anu and formed as stone, the Ben. This Ntchr was known as Ra, Atum, the perfect being. By the act of masturbation, Ra created from his own seed the Ntchr of air and dryness, Shu, and Ntchr of wet, Tefnut. From their union came the Ntchr of the earth, Geb, and sky, Nut. And these in turn gave 5 children, Asar, Aset, Satesh, Nebuchadnezzar, and Haru-Ur. These 9 are known as the Great Enad, or the Paseju-Ah. Set and Nebuchadnezzar had no offsprings, but Osir and Isis were fertile. The second great cosmology was of Kemenu, and we talked about, and that was summoned by Jehuti, the Ntchr of Kemenu. And at that very state, it brought forth 4 frogs and 4 serpents, which in combination produce an egg that set forth the mound and emerged from the water. From this egg was hatched Ra, and the 8 centuries from the Akdad or Kemenu, the number of significance in Kemenu. So that's what Kemenu puts forth that. They were the Noon and this consort Nunat, He and Henet, flowing waters, Keku and Keket, the darkness, and Amun and his consort Amunet, light. You hear Brother Reggie talk about this concept over and over again. This is a cosmology of Kemenu. The third Kemetic cosmology is of a different sort. During the second so-called dynasty, when the rulers were based in Memphis, a major effort was made to establish the local Memphite or Ntchr of Ptah as the major deity, who summoned a command of vibration of all Kemetu. The triad was Ptah, Sekhmet, and Nefer-Atum. The doctrine of Nefer-Atum asserted that Ptah was older than Atum, and therefore aided in this creative story of Atum Ra by the process of pure thought. The fourth cosmology was in Waset. And in Waset, we had the solar child who comes forth from the lotus, the Kemenu, and the words of Ra produced the 8 primordials and all assimilated to Amun. So there we spoke the world into existence. Here you get a chance to see the images of ancient Kemet from all aspects, from Bes in the center, the ancient Ntchr people, to Amun being coal black. So a lot of people saying Amun at the end of their prayers. To the right of Amun, we see a Pinmak, the great lion, which was the high deity in ancient Kush. We see Jehuti. But again, what I want to show is a good combination of male and female energies. So there's always this balance of the forces of nature. The Nubian Quastel incense burner. You see the date on here is approximately 3800 BCE, and that's approximately, it's probably even a little older than that. But the idea is that it blows that 3100 way out of the water. And so what you see here is that before Narmer united Upper and Lower Kemet, all of the spiritual paraphernalia of ancient Kemet was already in place. So in the center, you see Haru on top of the Seret, showing, and the Nasut Biti sitting in his chair, wearing the white crown. So this clearly shows you, yes, right here, yes. So that was in existence before Kemet came into existence in ancient Kash. Then to the right there, you see the boats. So we were already masters of the seas, navigating not only just the Nile, but oceans. And then architecture, go to your far right, you see the facade of the building, the White House. We were already building in stone. And if you come all the way back to the left of Haru, you see a 7-pointed star. That's Aset. Also, it represents Shashat. Right here, right? Yes, right there, right. So it shows you, we already had astronomy, already was plotting the stars. This was before ancient Kemet came into existence. And then you see we were great bulls. Yeah, to the left there, right, you know. So all of this was in place from ancient Kash. So ancient Kemet inherited this. So people need to be able to understand. Ancient Kemet inherited this greatness already. Now I want to make a distinction here between civilization and culture. In order for it to be a civilization, you need to have a written language, sophisticated planned architectural structures, planned cities, not just villages, a functional calendar and organization of time and space, an organized economy, and planned agriculture and animal domestication. Only ancient Kash met this criteria 1,000 years after the last great flood. And then Africa, Kemet, met this criteria 2,000 years after that. So Kash introduced all of these elements to ancient Kemet, and then ancient Kemet are to introduce this to the rest of the world. I hope I'm clarifying much of the confusion around civilization. Culture is not necessarily civilization. The first hominoids had culture, so did Homo erectus, Homo habilis. Even cavemen and the Amu have culture. Modern humans have been around for over 500,000 years or more, originating here in Africa, on all stages. And they all had culture. So even baboons got culture, but it's not a civilization. We look at this timeline, and again you begin to see religions can't use a timeline this because their religion don't start till after this timeline ends. There's no Moses here. There's no Jesus here. There's no Buddha here. All of this takes place before. This is no Prophet Muhammad. All of this takes place before all of them. Civilization and all the ingredients, the construction, architecture, science, engineering, government, governance, all of this is in place before the Western world wakes up and religion is created.
So at that time, go back one more time. So at this time, there's no Christianity on the scene.
No.
Because this is why they say BC.
Right. Before the Common Era, before
Right,
Christianity.
There you go.
Right.
So there was no Islam on the planet.
No Islam on the
I
continent.
always say that. There was definitely no Hebrews on the planet.
No Hebrews.
Okay, that's the point. I always say that at the time of the great in antiquity,
Yes.
there was no such thing as Christianity, Islam, Judaism. None of that stuff existed yet.
No.
Talk. Go ahead, brother.
So I wanted them to see the timeline so they get a clear picture.
Yes.
The African Kemetic prescribes. Again, this is the second golden age. This is over 2000 BCE, before all those religions came in. No Taoism, no Confucianism, none of that was still born yet. And these are the priests that were put forth. So everybody's imitating ancient Kemet. Here, what I want to show here, when you go to the museum, they're going to show you ancient Kemet, and then they're going to show you a map like this, and they got all Greek and Arabic names. But if you look to my right, I tell you the real names. These are the names that should be on the wall. So there was no Cairo. That should have been Iwinu. No Giza. Aket Mkufu. No Memphis. That's Eneb Hedge. Het Kapata. No Saqqara. That should have been Men Nefer. No Abydos. Abju. No Dendra. Right. We got Iwent. No Karnak. Iput Asut. No Luxor. Waset. Iput Rasut. No Valley of the Kings. Kefir Het Haru Im Nebes. No Esna. Ta Sana. No Edfu. Baguette. No Kamumbo. Nebyet. No Aswan. Abu. No Philae. Per in Aset. And the bottom one, no Abasembo. We have Diju Im Hat. This is why I want people to know the Ntchr. So you can see when you're being bamboozled. You should be asking the curator, if this is the 11th dynasty, why you got Arabic names? There was no Arabic. Why you got Greek names? They weren't learning, they didn't know how to write yet.
Go ahead, brother.
No gods, just principles and laws. Yes. Here you can see, we talk about the 7 heavenly bodies. Ra, depictum of the sun. Ea, the moon. Jehuti, represent your articulation, communications. That's Mercury. Venus was Aset. Love and the harmonious things. Mars, the red planet, was Set. Jupiter was Amen. And Saturn, the planet with rings, was Asar. We have Uranus, represent revolution. Neptune, imagination. And Pluto, transformation. As you see it, before the Greeks, the Romans, and any of them came into existence, we already had the 12 elders, and we understood Haru's vision. Here, I talk about the constellations and their signs. So Aries is the sign of Amen. So-called Taurus is Ha'ap or Het Haru. Gemini is Shu Tefnut. Cancer is Kepler. Leo is Haru Im Aketi, or the feminine energy, Sekhmet. Virgo is Aset. Libra is Ma'at, the balancer. Scorpio is Serket. Let me just give you an example. When the Greeks came in and saw this, they saw this powerful symbol in the sky, and they saw the scorpion on their head. They didn't ask nobody, well, who's the woman? They just said, well, that's a Scorpio, so we're just going to call this Scorpio. It's Serket. Serket heals scorpion bites. It doesn't go around biting people. So, the Europeans just got this all bad. Sagittarius is Kunsu. Capricorn is Hairy Chef. Aquarius is Happy. And Pisces is Hot Mayit. And so when you're learning the Medu Ntchr, you begin to understand this. And so-called zodiac has another meaning to you. You're learning European, Asiatic zodiac.
That right there, that's powerful right there, because I'm surprised if you don't have that picture inside of your presentation, the zodiacs.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
When you look up on the wall, what
Right.
building is that in?
Right. That's in Dendera.
Oh, that's in the Temple of Dendera.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to throw that in your presentation.
Okay, right.
Showing that.
Okay.
That's powerful.
That's good because then they can see those things on the
and,
wall.
And you see that we've been doing this way before, these signs that we're going by today.
So now let me just show here. This is why it was such a science. Some people say, well, Mfundishi, that ain't no real science. The 4 elements of education, qualities. So you have earth, water, fire, and air. And in the center, you have ether, which is the divinity, spirituality. Then around it, you have the 4 qualities: hot, wet, cold, dry. Now from here, I can tell what kind of personality a person has. So if a person is an earth sign, usually this is how they learn: relax and in solitude. Sonetta, you are earth, fire, or well, what kind of sign are you?
Aries.
You're Aries. You're a fire sign? No.
Yes, fire.
Yeah, fire sign. So if you see fire, that's energetic and solidarity. Okay, so energetic means that you energy, but you like to go in by yourself to get it down pat first.
Yo, man, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm an air sign, so look at me. I'm energetic just like you, but I'm not solitary. I'm social. I want to talk to the audience. I want to, explain. I'm a teacher.
That's exactly what
Okay,
you are.
right. So if you're a water sign, you're sociable but more relaxed. You're not as strong and fiery. An earth sign, same thing. More relaxed and solitude. Okay, so this shows you how we had this down to an exact science. Here's the Ntchr, celestial Ntchr. So this is how we depicted him. People, you can't see the celestial Ntchr with your eyes, so many of them. So what we did was draw images so that you can identify with them. If we said the creator was the molder, up here you got Khnum, and he's creating man on his builder block. So we know the power of the ram. And so here we depicted some image in nature that you would know to depict these images. Amen, the unseen one, but we make him cold black there, to represent this powerful force, because there's no force greater than black. To the left, you see Ptah, the creative spark of the universe. Now, you can't see the creative spark of the universe, so we created a black man with the skull cap and the beard representing wisdom to represent that energy. Jehuti, articulate thought. Here we have him as an ibis crane. Now, there's nobody looking like this. This is what we call a symbolic symbol of something that you have to concretely know. And so all of them are representing energies like this.
Now, you have some of our brothers out there who teach that black is ugly, black is death, who degrade being black.
I pray for them.
Who don't want to be called black.
Right. They are victims of self-hate. And the self-hate has been internalized. Because
what
they
Dr. Khaled always told us? He said such a stigma has been attached to black that we want to be anything but black.
And Khalid was teaching the truth, and that's the result. That's why the Hebrew Israelites are teaching what they teach. They actually hate black. That's
The Moors, though. The Moors is the main.
and the Moors only want you to use the word black.
That's right.
Okay, so no, we got to understand that the essence of the universe is black. Okay.
Yes, sir.
These are the Duat Ntchr. These are Ntchr of transformation. So you see that the scene on the bottom here. That's what most of the religions, like Christianity and Judaism, is trying to tap into. They're trying to say that you're being judged by the Creator. And when they say, you see Haru, just before Asar, leading Ani to his father, you know what it says here? It's going to sound like the Psalm, brother. He says, in the Hebrews say, or in the Christians say that the only way to my Father is through the Son. Well, that's Haru, the son of Asar, leading you to his father, who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done as it is in heaven and earth. All that comes from here. So they're all biting.
With the bottom?
Yeah, the bottom one, right.
Okay.
So if you start to the left, this is the person. No, come all the way back to the left first. Right. So this is Inpu, guiding you. That person represents the people watching. Right.
Right.
So this is after you've made your transformation. That's your spirit.
So first he take him to the heart. He weighed the heart.
Right.
The feather.
And that's all your deeds you've done here on earth. It doesn't mean that you've never done any bad. It means that if you've done bad, that you compensate from it. We have something called the law of reciprocity.
Right.
If that's balanced, then you go to the next stage. See, and Jehuti is taking notes. So Jehuti, come over one more. That's right there. That's Jehuti. He's recording your whole life there. Like when you go to court, you have the stenographer is recording everything. Jehuti is recording everything that's in your mind. If you are unrighteous, Amamet, that's the creature right there. He devours your soul.
That's right.
And then you got to come try it again. Okay, so you'll never see a foot hanging out of his mouth or nothing like that because this is all spiritual.
Right.
Okay, so now if you've passed that,
Go on to the next
then Haru takes you to his father, who's in heaven. Okay, right. Now,
sitting on the throne.
right, he's sitting on the throne.
Tsar.
Okay, and before him are the four sons of Haru on that, coming out of that lotus.
Right.
And they are examining all your organs in your body.
Now, when you break this down right here, what does this story remind you of? Like, for someone who plagiarized it and copied our story, when you look at it.
Well, it sounds like the Christian doctrine.
That's right.
The Christian doctrine comes directly out of this.
That's right. Facts.
Okay.
Now, what I would like for you to do right now, my brother, is go into this right here. Break
That's
this
the
down. Break this whole thing down here. What's going on here with the head,
Right.
the wings? And
Okay, this is the Sahu. This is Inpu preparing the body. It takes 70 days to prepare the body for this journey. That's the soul.
This is
Right,
soul.
right. That's your soul.
the body.
The Ba, right.
Okay.
And everybody is a soul. You don't have a soul. You are a soul and you have a body.
Right.
But you can discard your body. That's why you can have an out-of-body experience. If you were your body, you couldn't have an out-of-body experience. So the soul comes out of the body.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And what happens to the body?
The Ba comes down to this one. That is over here. Look at underneath, Ani. That's the Ba. No, right here. No, all the way to the, right there. Right there, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the Ba now in its human form.
Okay.
Now going through that transformation. So you have to go through that stage up there to get to here. Okay.
Okay.
Now these are to Celestial. These are the Earth Ntchr. So you'll see all these are your transformation here on Earth. But look, the main one I want you to see here, look at the left, at the bottom left there. That's, no, all the way to, yeah, right there. That's Asar,
I saw. Right.
the great black.
Look at the nose, man. Look at the lips. Come on. We
And,
all should know
and to
this.
make sure people had no mistake, look at that.
There you go.
Okay, so now there's no mistake. This is an African figure. This is the first father. He is the first king, like of ancient Kemet. And everybody is biting off of this energy. And so every ruler, when he dies, becomes a Sar so that he can be rebirthed. Okay? And then his son is Asar. Okay, so you see the great falcon. And then you see all the way to the right at the bottom, that's where they get the Black Madonna, mother and child from. So this is supposed to be Jesus suckling Mary. And the reason why they had to use the name Mary is because Aset, his other name, is Mary, the beloved one. So Jesus' mother had to be Mary also. So they did their homework in studying what was going on in Kemet so that they can resurrect that. And then above that in gold, you see the Trinity together in the right-hand corner.
Yes.
That's Asar, Aset, and Haru.
Aset and Haru.
Right.
That's the Trinity.
That's the Trinity. And the Christians took the woman out and they just got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, if I can just take a minute, we talk about Asar.
Asar.
The ancient Kemetic Ntchr called Asar was an aspect of the one creator. Asar is a member of the one of the most celebrated trinities of ancient Kemet. That is Aset, Asar, and Haru. Asar's teachings were widespread throughout the ancient world, and the most popular name he is known by is Osiris, the metaphysical wisdom contained in the Osirian myth. So I need to say Osiris is Greek, a Greek rendering of the word Osir. His teachings brings enlightenment to humanity and securing knowledge of Ntchr, life everlasting, through divine rebirth, renewal, and resurrection. Osir is the brother husband of the Ntchr Aset, who was very instrumental in the resurrection myth as she gathered the dismembered portions of Osir's body, which was scattered randomly throughout Kemet by Set. This story is discovered in my book called Spiritual Warriors Are Healers. In my chapter, I have a chapter called The Osirian Drama, and I break this down. But now there's two instruments. If you look there to the right, you see two instruments, the Heka and the Ntchr, and you see Osir carrying those. So now every king, every ruler in Kemet is going to carry those two instruments.
Uh-huh. He's right here.
Right. So,
What is those, though? What did it do?
all right, let me go back.
What is these for? This right here, if you see someone, not everybody get to carry these.
Right.
Just the ruler.
Only the ruler can rule that.
Okay.
So, do the shepherd staff first.
Yeah, because you see he got,
Right.
got it right here.
Right. So that shepherd, that's called the Heka. It simply means that I can guide you and rule you like a shepherd guides his flock.
Gotcha.
The other one is, the Ntchr is a grain thrasher that separates the grain from its hull. It means that I can feed you. But just like the Ntchr in ancient China was a thrasher, it's also a weapon.
You know, you got this in the museum.
Right. So it means that I can whoop that tail too if you don't pay attention.
Right, there you go.
Okay, so I can rule you, guide you, I can feed you, and I can spank that tail if I need to. And so that became the symbols of all the rulers in ancient Kemet. Even at the top, we see a pair of dice, brother. Yes, too. These dice will roll.
Look at that.
This is ancient Kemet. This is 4,000 BCE. 4,000 years before Christ, we still had the dice and games of, showing you.
You know, you can show me the chess set.
Oh, okay. All right.
Chess.
This is just going back, and this is showing other rulers carrying those two,
That's right.
the Heka and the Ntchr.
Akhenaten had
Right.
carried it at one time.
Right. And that's Hatshepsut Aman, all the way to the right, the woman who ruled as king.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, right there. Right. That's Hatshepsut Aman. And she's carrying the same too. All right. So just making sure that people have a clear.
Oh, what about the top?
That's Tut Ankh Amen
Okay.
carrying it. So that's the son of Akhenaten. And then over to the left, you see Osir carrying it. Right. Now let me quickly go through this is the first Kemetic golden age. And so that's the founder at the top. Look at that brother. So they try to tell you ain't no black people to the 25th dynasty.
What are you talking about, Narmer?
Right, that's Narmer. Black man from the south, from the interior of Africa, from ancient Kush.
Look at that wide nose, them lips.
Right.
That's a black man right there.
And
look like he got on the crown too.
yes. Uh-huh. And then if you look below that is the Narmer palette, showing him whooping tail. This is showing him wearing the white crown.
Oh, so this is Narmer.
That's Narmer there.
Oh, okay.
And then on the other side is showing him.
Who do he got though? Who do he got?
He's whooping the Asiatics.
Oh, okay.
Snuffing their nose out, killing them. And then if you look on the other side, he's wearing the red crown. So he defeats both people. No, the palette. That's two sides of the palette. That side, has the red crown. The other side has the white crown.
Okay.
So he's the first person to wear both crowns.
So this is Narmer here, down here.
No, that's Dent now. He's like around the fifth ruler after him,
okay.
showing him defeating the enemies again.
Right.
Every king kind of make sure that he was a protector of the people, showing him whooping that tail. Okay? He's a protector of the two ladies. So if you go to the top right, all the way up to the top, you see the Nekabet and Wajet, the vulture and the cobra, two symbols of upper and lower Kemet. And then if you come down to the middle one, right there, that's Nusut Biti. That means ruler of upper and lower Kemet. And then if you go to that right-hand corner, that's Pepi, where inside of his tomb shows the pyramid text.
This one is
Bringing gifts, right, before the Ntchr. And in the very center at the bottom is the Polaro stone. That shows the ruler's list of kings up into the 5th dynasty. This is still the first dynasty. The first golden age. You see Dzoser all the way to the left,
right.
and then that's him in the center.
Right here.
No, one more over.
Oh,
right there. Look, big black face, brown, right.
Right.
So that's Dzoser. The step pyramids was built for him. That's the step pyramids there. And above him is Imhotep.
That's not Imhotep, though?
No, Imhotep is up right there.
Right, but Imhotep built, I thought this...
He built this for Dzoser.
Oh, gotcha.
He's the vizier of Dzoser. And Dzoser's name is Ntchr. Ntchr, Dzoser. And go to that middle picture below Dzoser's head. Right. That's the Mirkut of Unas, the pyramid of Unas. And go one more over to the right. That's the pyramid text, the first pyramid text inside of there. That's inside of that. Okay.
All right, now, who is this again?
This brother, that's Sennacherib. He is the father of Dzoser.
Okay.
And then if you look down to the bottom here, that's Sennacherib, that's the pyramid, the father of Khufu. Here, the crowns of ancient Kemet. So I want people to be educated in here. If you see, these are the crowns that the rulers wore. The white crown is the hedge crown.
That's the upper.
Right. Then you had the red crown, the shirt.
Which is the
Lower. Then you had the double crown. That's where the two are on top of each other. Like you'll
that double crown represented?
see right here, Haru is wearing the double crown. Right. That means ruler of upper and lower Kemet.
Gotcha.
Then you had the Amen crown. The Amen crown is the double plumes. It's not shown on this one. I think it's shown on a. Whoops. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Okay, I'll have to skip that. Let me just go back. There's the Amen crown that you see that Amen wears. Then the Atef crown, which is over here, that Amen is wearing. That's a triple Atef crown. Then you have the Nimbus. The Nimbus is right here. The Nimbus is blue and gold right here. And that's a head rag, like a modern day do-rag. Then you have the Kot crown. That's this one here, holding your locks in. So look like the Rastafarian brothers holding the locks. And then you have the Kushite cap, which is here. So the rulers wore all of those.
Like the do-rag.
Yeah, uh-huh.
We got that today.
Right, uh-huh. Okay, oh, okay, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, here we go. Here I just want to show, this is the first golden age. This brother, look at this afro. Get rid of the word Kortush. You can see this is a shin. Shin, the elliptical orbit that the king rules in. Every ruler in ancient Kemet had their name placed inside of the shin. So I wanted to make sure that people clearly understood that. Either the Sarah and the Nasut Biti name came inside of a shin.
Now, when you say placed inside of the shin, what is the shin?
This circular thing around here. See the elliptical circle?
Right.
That's the shin, which is the elliptical circle. Every place the sun rises and sets. And the name goes inside here, meaning every place the sun rises and sets, I rule.
So how would you say?
That's
read this?
Keper Ka Ra.
So you start from the top?
No, I start in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Keper Ka Ra. That's his name. And then the Tulij under here says that life. This says protections. That's Sa. Stability, dominion and power, health, and joy surrounds him. Okay, all right. This is, again, these are lists. So this is why you got to read them and do Ntchr without taking their word for it. Each one of this is a king's list of the rulers of ancient Kemet during different times. This one over here was done for Setai I, for Ursa Ma'at Ra Setepin Ra, Ramses II in the 19th dynasty. Right. This up here was done in the 5th dynasty. Then you had Menchu Hotep in the 11th, 12th dynasty. So we can see we have to compare kings lists.
What, that's specialized, like, this is like about their lifetime?
Right. This just tells you their name. And usually sometimes it'll have both names. This is the Mirkut age. So these guys are the pyramid builders. So in the center, right here, we start with him. This is Sin-Neferu. See the name here? Sin-Neferu. This is Mirkut age. That's the pyramid age. This is Sin-Neferu. He is the father of Khufu. Khufu is the one that built these guys down here, the Great Pyramid. Whoops, went too far. He's the one that built this over here, the Great Pyramid. Then you have his sons, Ka-F-Ra and Min-Ka-Ra. They build the 2nd and 3rd pyramids here. So we got their faces. See, when we look at the great names of the so-called Jews, I don't see them. I can't find their grave. I can't find no bones. I can't find nobody in the Bible.
That's right.
I can't find Buddha. I can't find none of them.
Right here is going to bug you out. I asked that question I asked that question to them, they're all the Hebrews. And you know what they tell me? What's their answer?
What's that?
I say, well, how come we can go back into ancient Kemet, who was there thousands of years before the Bible prophets, and we can find,
Almost everybody.
everybody. So how come we can't find Jesus? Where's Abraham? Where's Moses? You know what they tell me?
What?
The Most High have ascended them back up into the heavens because they didn't want nobody to be grave robbers and like they doing y'all. You see what they doing to the Kemet? They go in there and they take their hand and they disrespect it. But the Most High had so much love for his prophets that he will ascend them.
That sounds like some hocus pocus stuff. That's spookism. That's spookism.
That's
right. Okay. So that means that you just got to go by blind faith. See, for them. Here, we're not talking about going by blind faith. We can produce them.
That's right.
Here I am showing you their temples again. Right there in Kemet.
Yes.
Now, pyramid builders, this is important. Science has proven that the pyramids and other monuments of Kemet, ancient Egypt, were not built by Hebrews, foreigners, nor slaves. They were built and paid citizens during the farming off-season. Since many of you mentally challenged Negropeans only listen to Europods, here are two of the best books by Europods, archaeologists, documenting that the Bible is not a history book and that the Kemetu, ancient Egyptians, paid their own citizens to build their own monuments and buildings and pyramids. So these are two books people can go and read right now.
Family, y'all see these books right here. Make sure y'all look these books up. Go get them. And y'all need to get them books. You see it.
And it shows. So no Hebrews, none of these buildings are made out of mud, brick, and straw. And they're on the planet 2,000 years before the first Jew comes into existence.
That's right. I was about to say that because I remember Dr. Ben always saying that. He said the pyramid was built before the Jew was born. In fact, it was almost in its ruin stages when he was born. The first so-called Jew was born.
These are some works I want people to read. This is why we're going back to the Ntchr. So we have the Mir Kut Sabiat. The Mir Kut Sabiat is the pyramid text. So right here, see that? That's the pyramid text. That's the writing on the wall. You can still go in there. You can go into Unas's temple. You can go into Pepi 1 and 2. You can go into both of their pyramids and look at the text. And you can get books with the glyphs. Don't just read what Europeans said. Then I come here and I say the Karas Sabiat. That is what was written on the temples, on the Karas, on the so-called caskets and stuff like that. Those were sacred psalms that actually come from the pyramid text. Then we have the Sabiat text, the Shabaka stone, the Shabaka Sabiat. Over here, that's the Shabaka stone up in the right-hand corner. That's in the British Museum.
Right.
And then the Yebu Stela. Brother Reggie likes to use this. This is where Joseph comes into Egypt on the famine and they stealing all this information. That's right here. See this here? That rock, you can still go see it today. It's in Aswan. Right there, you can take a boat right out and still see it. It's still eligible. So not only is our stuff still available, the common person can go see it. That's not in the museum. That's right there. This they have to go see in the museum. But the pyramid text, most of these texts you can go see physically today and see where everybody's getting their information from. So I'm not hiding this stuff. I'm telling people where they can go, and this is why you need to read the Ntchr so that you don't have to take nobody's word for it. Now this is the second golden age. This Mentuhotep's mortuary temple is right here, okay? And then Hatshepsut Aman is going to be a veggie backing on top of him, and she built hers right here. So the Valley of the Kings is over here on this side of the mountains, and the Valley of the Queens, the Hemet and the Su, are on that side of the mountains. But here, that's Mentuhotep, the big black brother up there.
Right.
He's the founder of the second golden age, coming from the south again. Every time the country was disunified, they came from the south to reorganize. And look at his military, look at his army here. We still got pictures. Inside of the tomb, they made images of them. These are real life pictures of the actual carvings and statues that was inside of the tomb. So this is not somebody's rendition of it. Here, this beautiful sister right here, get her locks twisted. That's Mentuhotep's wife. Over here, see the black sister getting that stuff? That's another one of Ntchr, another one of his wives. And this is his marching army. These are the Magi. The second goal on the Ntchr tips. I want people to get a good look. My book that comes out next year, this is on the cover. Ntchr Hotel.
Make sure I get the first interview, brother.
Yes.
When you do that, when
Yeah,
that book come out,
that'll be out. That'll be
Yeah,
when,
they come
when I
out.
start my classes before spring. This book will be out.
That's
That'll
a nice
be.
cover too.
Yes.
You gonna use that cover?
Yes, that's the cover.
That's
Yeah.
a bad cover.
This is just a close up of his wife getting her locks twisted.
See that family? Look at this, man. Beautiful. Was she sipping on tea or something?
Right. Yeah. You know.
Look at that. Sipping on tea, getting her locks, getting her hair done. You can see the sister right here twisting it. Beautiful.
And then if you see on the right,
This right here in her hand, that's the mirror.
that's the mirror.
Yes, look
That's
at
that
that.
head room mirror. Those are the mirrors I sell on 125th Street. Okay.
Right, I saw that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then to the right, that's another one of his wives smelling the Blue Lotus.
Right, and one more thing, you can see that
The
we
sock.
wore the gold, we wore the jewelry. Look
Right.
at this. We wore the diamonds, the bling, and all of that right there. You know what I'm saying? All that's our stuff.
Kosh and Kemet, all African people. They try to make believe that the ancient Ntchr were always the enemies. These guys come into trade. These are not slaves. Put your staff up in the center. Those guys up to the top. Those are not donuts that they got in a trade. Those are gold bars. Those are gold bars. They come into trade with Kemet on equal par.
That's right.
So these are the Kushites.
Cossacks right here.
Yes. And you can't tell them almost from, only way you can tell them from the Kemet is by the clothes.
Right.
This is the Kushite army. You can see they're a little bit more colorful. They were, in ancient antiquity, classified as the greatest archers in the world. In fact, there's a place, part of their country, one of them was called Taseti, which means land of the bow. So I want people to get a good look at their faces. Now, if there were some white boys, don't you think they would have had at least one white boy in the army?
That's right. That's right.
This is another picture. This is the Kemet army. Look exactly like the Kushite army, except for they wear just white linen. This is the Ntchr combat arts. These brothers practicing with swords, stick fighting, grappling, throws. This brother getting thrown. Down here, this is from what they call Beni Hassan, ancient Mahez. This is off the wall. This is over 2000 BCE.
Woo! Look at that.
There is no Shaolin temple. There is no Japanese martial arts. Ain't no karate when these guys are getting thrown. This is literally a picture from the wall. And this is their marching army of Kushites. So I want people to see it firsthand. This is not no feel-good stuff. We got documentation. This is the Mirkut showing that every Mirkut had a temple complex attached to it. So I wanted them to see it before just the ruins. And here's a astrological showing that the Mirkut is aligned
Can
with
you go
stars
back
in the
one
sky.
more picture? Can you go back? One more. So, when you look at this right here, what was their nationality?
Well, this were Kushites and Ntchr.
Right.
Africans.
Because what I'm trying to tell you is that they wasn't running around saying, what's your nationality?
Right.
That only happened when we come over here. Because a lot of us don't know our nationality. We've been taken out of our home
Right.
land. We don't know. So, they assume that we all come from one specific place when in fact we migrated all over.
All
the
over.
world,
And ancient Kemet was like that. People came from all over to come to the Nile Valley. But you can see here, they were basically what we would call today black people.
Right.
So you can see here, these temples, these pyramids were aligned with the stars.
Now they're getting scientific now.
Right. And if you come over here, you can see here that this is the temple of Karnak, showing that it's designed to be just like a human being.
Wow.
So the Holy of Holies is all the way back here where the mind is. The entrance is here. And right here is the birth, the resurrection scene, where your reproductive organs are. The hypostyle halls is here where the ribs are, So they're showing you a temple was designed like a human being. This is the science. I don't want to go into, people can read this. The ratio of a circle in circumference is the diameter, is constant. It's showing you here the mathematics The circumference is equal 2 times the radius. It shows you here that the Great Pyramid is in the center of the world and is based upon all of these facts. 481 feet high. Its perimeter shows you here. Its circumference is here. And you see if you add that times 2, 3.15, that's pi, times the height, that's the speed of light. So it's letting you know the mathematics that was involved. This is not a coincidence, brother. And it's pointing almost directly true north. And they were building it under Amen. The great black appears. So just let you know. Here's the golden means over here to the right. So all the temples and build was using this formula. And Jehuti is the consciousness that directs all of this information. These are just, I'm just showing you, here's the Tekken.
Right.
And here, these pyramids are in Kash. And that's still today. That's a modern picture today. This is the temple Seti. And you see this is a 33-degree angle. So, and when you walk up here, there's no stress on the back.
Right. Now, when you look at this, and then you go to the museum, brother, me and Reggie was outside looking at the masonry.
Yes.
And I said, Reggie, that's our shit. That's our stuff right there. The
Right.
way they just built it, how you walk up the steps just to get into the museum.
Yes.
That's our stuff right here. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Walking up the steps just to get into the doors of the,
The main entrance, yes, sir.
Yeah, they know what they doing.
And look at here, you see the entrance, see this is a ram-headed Haru Imaketes here. Because this is the age of Amen.
Right.
So this is before they can even get to the temple. They got to pass all these rams. So this is just, now over here to my right, this is a temple complex of the where the Haru Imaketi is, the Sphinx. There is no right corners here. This building, every corner is rounded for acoustics. So they were healing through sound here, being able to move objects through sound. And these same types of structure is found in Angkor Wat. Same type of structure is found in Easter Island. Same type of structure is found in Peru. So it shows the ancient Kemet perfected their art and then took the show on the road.
Now, no one has really broke down how they was able to move them masses of stone to build them pyramids. How was the pyramid built? We could get into that when you finish.
Right.
But I definitely want you.
But you see this picture here. This picture here kind of helps. That would be the catalyst. For example, all of these buildings are like this are near where they have the great structures.
Right.
So they use sound to render objects weightless. Today you can do that, brother. I can hit a certain pitch and all the objects will rise up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they can use sound. So that's why there's no right corners here, because the sound would get trapped in it. And this is at the base of the pyramid. This temple, what I'm showing you here, this is at the base of the pyramid. So here it is. They had stones that when you hit it, it gong like a bell. So they knew how to play these instruments. But then I'm going to say something else, brother, that will blow people away. And that is, some of those large structures, they didn't have to carry them there. They made them there. They actually, we had the art, we knew how to make stone. Every stone that exists on the planet, the ancient Kemetu knew how to make. And so the granite stones you see on the pyramid was made. So you never saw a picture of a brother carrying a 20-ton stone up a hill.
Right.
All those are pictures the Egyptologists drew with slaves and stuff. No, the brothers, you know how you pour cement? The brothers made the stone, and when they hardened with Ra, you couldn't tell the difference from the natural ones. And I got scientific proof to back it up. Again, I'm trying to show, look at the rulers. I want you to see the faces of the rulers. Right, that's her, Hemet Nesutweret Tayi.
What was her son's name again? What was her son?
Akhenaten.
Right.
Akhenaten. Right. And again, you see, this is the war crown up here. Comes from the hairstyle of the Africans who kicked the Hyksos out.
Right.
And those are Magi warriors in the center.
Right.
And the Magi warriors were an elite group of warriors.
The Magi.
Right.
I know the Magi probably listening right now. And you see the Ankh symbol and all that right up on top.
Right.
Look at this right here.
So these are elite group, and their main job was to protect the ruler. So whoever the ruling family was, they were surrounded by magi. Was no assassinations in ancient Kemet. Again, I just want to show, this is the Amarna period. So you see Tutankhamun, this is his mate, this is Akhenaten's, Nefertiti's daughter.
When you look at this right here, you see our sisters today with the hairstyle like that.
Right.
See, they think they doing something new. We never did it. There's nothing new under the sun. Look at this. Have you ever seen some sisters with their hair shaved to the side?
Right.
Come on, man. We did all that already.
And then look at this one here, those braids there, like that. Now that's Nefertiti. This is Ankhenes, that's Nefertiti's daughter. Here's Nefertiti over here again. And again, this is the royal guards, the magi, over here to the right, always protecting the royal family. This is a great picture showing that's Amen in the center, and Heru pouring libation to Amen, receiving his power so that he can rule. And Heru represents the rulers of ancient Kemet. But this is why I want people to read the Ntchr, so that they can see what's going on here. And the libation is giving Ankh. That's what we call purification or baptism. This is Akhenaten. This is the Aten. This is Akhenaten. So that's Queen T's son. Here to the right. Okay, whoops, let me go back one. To the right. And this is him worshiping the Aten, the disk of the sun. He said, without the sun, there would be no life here on the planet. And so he was giving all homage to the sun. This is his children. You can see the elong-headed head. Europeans are trying to say that this is the last ancient aliens to rule on Earth was through this family here. He's trying to say that, see, this is his daughters with the long heads. Right. He's trying to say they were aliens, but they're just Africans. That picture of the brothers wrestling and stuff, that's inside of here. This is at Mahez, Ben Hassan. That's inside of this hall. So there was a whole area with hundreds of tombs like this, dedicated to the warriors and to the magi. This is me at the Temple of Amen. This temple is 1.5 miles long and 1 mile wide, the largest temple in the world. Here, these are not your ancestors. These are your ancestors. And see, they're imitating Abba Simbel. Mount Rushmore and all that is imitating what the Africans did. As I'm moving here towards the end, people are always asking me, why am I using the crystals and stones? Right, yeah. Crystals can subtly enhance your mental, physical, and spiritual communication with the positive energy of the earth and its environment. Crystals also possess a healing energy through its color. You see those gems to the left? Those are not modern gems. Those are gems from ancient Kemet. If you see all the way over here, Tutankhamun, that's red jasper for his body. That's not blue hair. I know sisters wearing blue hair today. They had it blue because that's lapis lazuli, represent the wisdom stone. So they made their heads blue, representing lapis lazuli, the wisdom stone. And then here they use turquoise and silver and gold to enhance all of that. That orange stone is carnelian. So you can see all of these stones. See the gemstones? See that lapis lazuli, carnelian, turquoise? All those stones are being used over and over again. So see this, just like the Maasai in Western Africa rather. Look, even the karas, the casket, gemstones. That's inlaid. So somebody took their time to inlay those gemstones inside of there. So they understood the power. And this is where these stones and stuff come from. Here, quartzite, limestone, malachite, turquoise, granite, feldspar, amethyst, malachite, the gold, granite, gold, natron, carnelian. Okay. Oops. So I wanted to show they didn't even have to go and import it. It was right there in the Happy Valley. This is the color scheme. So if people can get a chance to read this, it shows you the various power in each of the colors. So this is the colors that was constantly being reproduced in ancient Kemet. If you look over here to the top right, you see the crystals. It is crystals that we have clear evidence of the existence of a formative life principle. And though we cannot understand the life of a crystal, it is nonetheless a living being Tesla even said that. The crystal gives off energy and receives energy. If you look here, crystals can alleviate pain. So that was rose quartz, excuse me. Oops. Rose quartz and malachite. Rose quartz soothes the pain from cuts, scrapes, and bruises. It's a loving energy and also calming, which is helpful, especially with kids. Malachite is wonderful, wonderful for all general pain relief. Hold either stone, and it will help you alleviate the pain. And you can see even organs of the body was related to certain colors and stuff like that, and directions. This is all a science coming out of ancient Kemet. So I want people to be really clear about this. These are the colors. For those people who want to go into this greater, these are the colors in Ntchr. So black was, the word for black was Kim. The word for brown was Desh. The word for red was Ntchr. The word for orange was Nubu Haru. The word for yellow, Kentwood. The word for green, Wedged. The word for blue, Itiru. The word for gold, Nubub or Noob. Silver, Hedged Nubu. The word for gray, Sakim. The word for ivory, Abu. The word for white, Hedged. The word for purple, Patah. So, you know, I wanted them to be able to, so they can say these words in the Ntchr. I think we kind of went over this before, the headgear. This is again showing the king's name. This is the 4th golden age, which everybody say is black. So I don't have to spend too much time on that. Everybody know. But the Europeans say that these were foreigners. No, they weren't foreigners. They came from Kush to reunite their people. And they're actually connected to the last family of ancient Kemet before the intermediate period. So I wanted people to get a clear look. They're the same Africans you would see earlier. This is Tahaka, Pianki, Kashta. This is, again, the Africans showing themselves defeating their enemies. And this is our problem. We want to sing up on some freedom. We want to march up on some freedom. The ancient Kemetu did not do that. When they got busy. So you can see how the king depicts himself. And look, this is how, remember the almond plumes? I talked about the almond crown? So that's the almond crown right there.
Right.
Again, this is the ruler wearing the Kapresh crown before Haru, before he's getting ready to go to battle. Again, this is the 4th golden age. These are all Kushites who are ruling. And again, let the people read the Ntchr, so they don't have to take anybody's word for it. This guy, in his tomb in the Valley of the Kings, is the first record of the 42 oracles of Ma'at. Look at this black man.
Yes, sir.
So the 42 oracles of Ma'at, where people are getting 10 commandments and everything, the first rendering of it comes from this guy's tomb. This is the ancient Kemetu, how they depicted themselves. Spirit door that we're using today. People use them as tombstones, but we use it as a spirit door to commune with the ancestors. I say use it or lose it. Here is the Great Seal of America. This is the ancient Kemetic seal.
Look at that.
This is your Oscar award. That's Ptah and Asar. They don't even know who Oscar is. The eye of the falcon. Here's the falcon, the pelican falcon, who can travel 285 miles per hour. That's your first eye, connecting you to Ra.
Look right directly into the sun.
Look directly, the only creature that can do that. If you don't use your stuff, they will take it. The Tekken, resurrection, renewal, rebirth, a male phallic symbol of Asar in Haru. None of these are in Africa. This is in London. It's in France and England, United States, the Vatican. That's off of the river in London.
Now, you know which one you should have threw up in there?
What's that?
The one in Central Park.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
know that
I have a picture of that too. I have to put that up there. Oh, but this one here. See this one right here?
Uh-huh.
That's the twin to the one in Central Park.
Oh, yes.
One went to London and one went here. So that's the twin to the one in Central Park. So next time I'll cut some of this out and put that in there. Oh, didn't I show this already? Okay. Know your story through your own classical language, the Ntchr. So my brother, this kind of ends up, I'm coming to it, I'm talking about know your story. So this, all that I'm teaching you is through the Ntchr. I didn't learn any of this through no university. I learned this through reading the Ntchr. And here at the top it says, all of the evidence of the ancestors left us, all the evidence they left us, we still believe in the Bible. All the evidence they left us. This monument was built before there was a Bible, before there was a Torah. And Dr. John Henry Clark, if I could just read his words, Africa is our center of gravity, our culture and spiritual mother and father, our beating heart, no matter where we live on the face of this earth. All right, so this is to my Moore brothers. We're not dissing North America and your contribution here, but Africa is our mother. It's the center. This was just kind of a throw-in, just to let people know the evolving of Jesus. So we start up here with Ntchr, we move here, we move to Bow, we move to El, we move all the way over here, we finally get around to Serapis, and we get to Zeus, and then finally Jesus emerged in 325 BCE. So people get a good close to that. Do your research. Serapis, yeah. Do your research and look. And all these people are imitating the imitators. One cannot claim to be knowledgeable master of teaching if he is only if he is wise while the masses remain ignorant. So the reason why we're doing this presentation and the reason why I'm here, Sonetta, I can't be a master and I'm the only one to know the information. The idea is to transmit it to the people. Only then are you a teacher. Malcolm said that if you can't break it down so that a 5-year-old understands it, then you ain't deep. Surround yourself with those who have the same mission that you are. So I don't know why the Hebrews wanted to come to the Kemetic Temple War Conference and try to pout their stuff. Okay, they were in the lion's den. Okay, all right. Here, African consciousness, divine essence. So at that conference, we saw the heart opening. These are books that we want to suggest for people to read. So it's not just my book down here, Spiritual Warriors of Healers, but we see some very profound books dealing with the Kemetic legacy and dealing with our story. So if people can get a chance to read this, we have the Sarge Setsawite Raul Ntchr in here. We got Brother Tony Broder over here. Brother Jacob Crothers up here. Carruthers and Karanga down here. We have the Ankh. We have some very, Chancellor Williams. We got some very profound stuff. Yeah, Theophile Benga there. So we want people to read, or the Hosea over here, Karanga. People read these books. They will give you great insight into the Kemetic legacy. And I believe this is the last slide. Know your story. We are an African people from the continent we now call Africa, or some people call Akabaland, the birthplace of humans. And people often say, motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. And again, look at our leaders. I think
Oh, okay.
online or something like
Right,
that.
right.
You can actually buy a USB
Oh,
like this.
yeah, look at
1,
that.
2, 3 lessons on it. They
And
can
what those go for? That's good. I like that. That's a good marketing thing there.
Just doing the DVD.
Yeah, talk about that right quick. What is that you actually have in your hand? How do one learn from that? They can have that for a lifetime as long as, and they can go over it as many times as they want. Talk about that right there. That's important. And how much it costs.
Okay, so what we have done, some of my students have put together a USB with the classes of the Ntchr. So a person, no matter where they are, they don't even have to have, a computer. They can just go to the library and plug it in. It's a USB. You just plug it into a computer, and it has the lessons on it. So it's a live class of me teaching the Ntchr, the beginning levels. And they, in the comfort of their own home, they can go over it as many times as they want. My student, Brother Ma'at, did an excellent job in terms of the cinema photography. It's high quality resolution on it. One lesson is the first USB is $25. And then after that is $20 for additional lessons on it. So they can get it download. They'll be able to go on my website each month and just download another episode. You just pay $20 and download another one. So we have one with one lesson on it and one with two. So they can buy one lesson for $25. They can buy the double lessons for $45. So each time a lesson is added, you just add $20. So eventually there's like a 12 lessons. And so, you can just buy all of them on one USB.
Yeah, that's good there, brother. Let me ask you this question real quick. I always hear the people say Africa was really named after a white man. Or did a white man name himself after Africa? You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Africa was named after a white man, but I'm saying, did the white man really named himself after Africa?
And when we use that, that is correct. The brother was given the Roman was giving the name Africa. He got the name Africa from Africa, and they named him the Emperor of Africa. And then later the Romans just classified that all of that area, like in Carthage and all that, became Africa. But we don't even use that terminology. We use Africa.
And
Right.
Is that somewhere in the Ntchr?
Right. That's in Amharic. Right. It's in Kemet and it's in Ethiopia. They can actually see it, And we also call our land Ntchr. That's the land of divinity, the land of the creator.
So there you have it, family. The white man did not give us that name.
Right.
Stop giving credit to something that, that's why it's important to know the Ntchr, like you said.
Right. You can read the wall. Mm-hmm.
Okay, brother, that's powerful right there. Let me ask you this here. The Ntchr, and I asked you this before, but we still have new people in the audience, and they want to know. They say that the Ntchr has never been deciphered. Now, by saying that, you know how dangerous that could be? That's dangerous right there to say something like that. Because by you saying that, that means that everything that we talking about, even when we look at the Temple of Luxor, why is you calling it the Temple of Luxor? The ones who says the Ntchr has never been deciphered, Professor Walter Williams. Why is you addressing any other names by the name of the Kemet names if it never been deciphered? Talk about that.
My teacher, Sister Riketi Aman, already put that to bed. And the mere fact you just saw this presentation, all of this was deciphered from the Ntchr. All of the science that we know is from Kessler, the greatest scientist in America, European, got his information from the Ntchr. Okay, so I'm just trying to, and he said you need to get into the Ntchr. So even the white boys are telling you that that's the key. We know the grammar. We know it. Listen, I'm on my way to Africa next month. January, I'll be in Nigeria, Niger, and Benin. And the reason why I'm going to Benin, for example, is that there's a pyramid there supposed to be 12,000 years old. And it looks like the Step Pyramid in Mexico. So I'm going there to take my own pictures. I'm going there to meet, there's a Niger Egyptologist who says he deciphered the Ntchr by using Hausa, the language Hausa. So the same words were in Hausa. So I want him to show me the Hausa, just like Diop did, and show me the Ntchr words so that I can compare. So when I come back, I can prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt. Here we are that the Ntchr is an African language. It's not an Asiatic language, it's an African language. And it comes from the interior of Africa. Now, if the pyramid there is 12,000 years old, brother, that's older than the pyramid in Egypt. That's parallel to it means that the people came out of the interior of Africa and then migrated down the Nile. As the climate changed, they moved towards the water. Because it used to be Lake Chad in the center there. That was all water there. And as that dried up, people migrated towards the water.
Now, I know you got to know that there is still pyramids in Kemet that have not even been found yet. Underground, under the earth. I mean, talk about that right there. It's so much of our works there that have not even been found.
Well, in a way, it's kind of an honor that some of them have not been found. You know, because it would just be up in some museum because the Arabs control that land now, and we have no jurisdiction over it. And Africa south of the Sahara have its own problems. We don't have good leadership. The African Union isn't doing anything to save Africans, per se. You only have a person that look like got some backbone is Mugabe, you know, and he's like 90 years old, so I don't know how long that's going to last. So, you know, until Africa can rise up and defend itself, we don't need to find nothing else. Somebody just going to come and take it. Right. You know, when Nigeria becomes a powerful country, they don't have to worry about their Muslims taking over all of North Nigeria. If we don't have to worry about the Islamic wars and on the African continent, when we don't have to worry about Christians taking the minds of African people. Until we do that, right now, if a bunch of Christians found it, they would say this is the devil worship and probably tear it up. You know, so it's probably an honor that some of the stuff have not been found yet. But still, look at how much information are in museums around the world. We got more stuff in museums than exists in the Christian Muslim war world altogether, just in the museums. So it just lets you know how great ancient Kemet was. So people can talk all they want, but everything that they hold of value comes almost from ancient Kemet.
Right. You know, me and Brother Reggie, we went to the museum last week. We had a nice crowd with us, man. We had a beautiful crowd with us. Even a couple of Moors was there. So I asked one of the Moorish brothers. I said, brother, how come you can't show us any artifacts in the museum of you? Show us you. I want to see where the Moors are at. Guess what? See, just like the religious folks do, guess what he told me, brother? He said the reason why they're not there was because they closed off the room. They shut the room down because brothers like Hakeem Bey and Tariq Bey and all of the brothers started coming, getting the information and bring. I looked at him, I'm like, come on, brother, are you serious, man? Are you telling me that they was afraid that they had to close the room because Tariq and you know, all the Moors was coming to get the knowledge? What about all the Kemetic brothers that's going up there? That's more powerful than anything. And they leaving it there for the world to see. You know, so that's what he told me. But let me ask you this now. This is the last question. I don't want to hold you too long. In terms of the chakras, I hear Brother Unk from the Amun-Ra Squad and another young brother by the name of Pharaoh, young brother, 22 years old. They was having this discussion on 125th Street. You was gone. You closed up. We came through there and we was building out there. So the brothers is having a discussion about, one say we didn't know nothing about chakras and the Kemites wasn't dealing with the chakras and that's a whole different thing. The other brother is saying, of course, we wasn't calling it chakra, we was using another name. But our ancestors dealt with that. Talk about that, brother. It's called Shechem Shara.
Sekhem Shin Ra.
Okay.
Sekhem means the vital power. Like the Chinese have chi, the Japanese have ki, the Indians have Purana. In Swahili, we have Moyo. In Kemet, they call it Sekhem. That's your internal vital force. So Shin means circular. Right. Chakra is Sanskrit for energy centers. So Sekhem Shin Ra, you have to understand, Kemet was in existence before that. I showed you the crystals in the presentation. Here, I'm carrying a crystal wand. This is where all that stuff comes from, the idea of a crystal wand, of all of those concepts. Being directing energy. Why do you think they went through all of those pains to put the crystals inside of the gemstones, the gemstones and crystals inside of the karas, inside of the mask of the king? How come they put inside of their sa? See, they didn't have jewelry. They had sa. That was spiritual protection. So they understood the energy. And on purpose, I left a chart of colorology in the presentation. So you can see the colors vibrated with your centers, with purple being the very highest. Then you go to dark blue. Then you go to light blue. Then you go to green or pink. Then you go to yellow. Then to orange. Then to red. And black circumnavigates everything. And clear quartz deal with clarity of focus and thought. throughout your whole aura. So, no, we had this in ancient Kemet. We taught the rest of the world. In fact, not only Kemet, it was introduced into Kemet from the interior of Africa. There are maps showing that we were mining semi-precious stones 100,000 years ago. That's supposed to be before civilization came into existence. We already knew the power of gemstones and crystals before there was even anybody on any of the rest of the continents. Now let them smoke on that. Before people even got to the other continents, we were mining stones and semi-precious metals. Dr. Ntchr showed a furnace going back a couple of million years that could smelt iron and steel. We just learned how to do steel about 300 years ago in the Western world.
All right, my brother. Thank you for a beautiful and powerful presentation. I know the people are going to love this when I throw it up. In closing, my brother, are you open for any invitations for lectures? Do you do lectures? Do you go all over the world doing lectures? And if so, how do the people contact you to invite you out? Let's talk about that.
Yes, I do lectures all over the country. In fact, people are bringing me to London for a whole week to do. I'm going to France for a whole week to do lectures to teach babies and the adults. Yes. Okay. And I'm still lecturing all around the country. I tell people they can contact me on my Facebook or my website.
What is your Facebook?
My Facebook is Mfundishi Jehutimas. My website is mfundishijehutimas.madunetcher.com.
Spell your name for Facebook. Spell the name for Facebook.
Facebook is Mfundishi, Mfundishi, and then Jehutimas, JHUTYMS. So that's for Facebook. And I always, like I'm taking people to the museum the first day of Kwanzaa, December 26th. Myself and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, who used to be a curator there, they have a special exhibit for the Congo, and then that special exhibit for ancient Kemet, 11th dynasty. So me and Dr. Jeffries will be leading a group this Saturday, the 26th, first day of Kwanzaa.
You know, I had Jeffrey sitting right here 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, excellent.
He killed it. He did good.
Okay, all right. So that's happening now. So they can contact me. I'm going to put my phone number up, but people, text me. I got people calling me all types of day, and they don't really have nothing to say.
I already know. Bro.
So,
Believe me, I
look,
know.
so 347-792-9138. So text me, and I'll be able to give you all the information that you need. Don't just call me and say, Mfundishi, I just saw your video, brother. This is hot. This is so, okay, I appreciate that,
Right.
but, text me. I'll give you the information that you need. Go on my website and order my book, Spiritual Warriors Are Healers.
Support, man. Support.
Okay.
That way he could be able to write more books.
Yes, sir.
It costs money.
I'd like to say Asante Sana, Ankh Uja Seneb Neb, Dua Ntchr.
Peace. And family, be looking forward of hearing the elders come out next for the conference. Baba Heru, Brother Mfundishi. I'm going to see how I go about getting Raketi Amen. I mean, I'm gonna talk to my brother about that off the air, and we can see how we can get the masters in the building now, where we can sit at their feet and learn what they have been bringing out to the people. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and Black Power. I think I'm gonna have something coming up for this weekend, so stay tuned in, family. Peace. We love you. We out.